Hello everybody, today we are going to talk about angles of triangles. So, the angles inside a triangle are called interior angles. Pretty simple, easy to deal with, okay? When the sides of a polygon are extended, there are some other angles formed, and some of those are called exterior angles. So an exterior angle is an angle that's outside a polygon that is adjacent to the interior angles, okay? Adjacent means next to. They got to be sharing a side. There's also vertical angles. Those are angles that form an X shape and are not next to each other. So I'll show you what that means here in a minute. So here we have a triangle, okay, that I drew. Here's my triangle. And I extended the sides. Okay, so the interior angles are easy. Angle 1, angle 2, and angle 3 are the interior angles because they're inside the triangle. Okay, now I've got three other angles at each corner. Some of those are exterior angles, some of them are vertical angles. So the exterior angles are angles 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So what's different about them from angles 9, 10, and 11? Angles 9, 10, and 11 are the vertical angles. Okay, so here's the difference. The red angles, the exterior angles, they all share a side with the interior angle. So here's the interior angle, angle 1. Angle 3 shares this side right here with angle 1. Angle 8 shares the same side with angle 2. Angle 6 shares this side with angle 3, and so on. Angle 9, 10, and 11 do not share a side with an angle. They're across from each other. So angle 1 and angle 9 are vertical. Angle 3 and angle 4 are also vertical angles. Okay? Now, so anytime I have any kind of X shape like this, okay, these two angles are vertical, and these two angles are vertical. Okay, and here's something to know. Vertical angles are always equal. Always. Vertical angles are always equal. So I know that angle 1 and angle 9 are equal. I know 3 and 4 are equal. I know 2 and 11 are equal. I know 7 and 8 are equal. 3 and 10 are equal, and 5 and 6 are equal. Okay? So, here's the other thing. An interior angle and its exterior angle always add up to 180 because they form a straight line. Okay, we'll get into a little bit more of that later. So, I would be able to identify interior angles, exterior angles, and vertical angles. Notice I got them color coordinated with the picture, so it should be nice and easy for you. Okay, moving right along. So, the sum of the interior angles of a triangle always add up to 180 degrees. Okay, so here I got a triangle. I don't know any of the angles, but I've labeled them A, B, and C, and I know that A plus B plus C is always equal to 180 degrees. So, keep that in mind. Now, find the angle of X. Okay, so if I go here, I know that X plus 32 plus 48 has to equal 180. Okay, so X plus 80 equals 180, and that tells me that X is, it's terrible X, equals 100. Okay, so I can go in here and I can label this. This angle is 100 degrees. Okay, now this one's a little trickier because at first glance you think, I don't know any of these angles, but you really do. You know that one's 90. Okay, now I know then that X plus 28 plus X plus 90 equals 180. Now you can shortcut this a bit because if I subtract 90 here from both sides, I get X plus 28 plus X equals 90. Okay, so you can, if you know you got a 90-degree angle in here, these other two angles have to add up to 90. You can just shortcut it and start right here if you want. Okay, so x and x is 2x plus 28 is 90. Okay, and then you subtract 28 from both sides. And you're going to get 2x is going to equal, what, 62? And so then you divide by 2 and you get x equals 31. Now here's where you really got to be careful. You got to read the question, okay? Because there's two things that you can do here. You can say, hey, what's the value of x? Or you can say, how much are the angles? Those are different things, okay? This says find the value of x, so you're done. You found x, it's 31, game over, you win, okay? Now, if it had said, hey, find the measures of the angles, well, you would have got this one right here right, because that one is 31. But this one's not 31. This is 31 plus 28, which would be 59. Okay, so be really careful about what the question is asking you and answer the question correctly. I always like to, here's the other thing. When I have a figure that I have to put angles in and calculate angles, I always like people to put the angles in, the angle measures in the angles, okay? Because if we have a real complicated figure, finding one angle might give you another angle, and if you put it in the picture, it makes it much easier to figure out. Some people just like to, list the angles out on the side, but that's fine, except that in a complicated picture, sometimes if you find angle C, it gives you a different angle, and if you don't put it in the picture, it's really hard to tell that. So write them in the picture all the time. Okay, so here's a couple that I want you to do. So pause the video right here, find the value of x in both of these. In fact, you know what? Go ahead, not only find the value of x, also find the measure of the angles. Because that's usually why you find x anyway, is so you can find the angles. All right, so pause the video here and solve these, and then jump back on and check and see if you're right. Okay, so this first one here, this is the easier one. You know that x plus 25 plus 81 has to equal 180 degrees. Okay, so I can add these two things together. X plus, 106 equals 180. And then you subtract 106 from both sides. And you get x equals 74. Okay, now, what's the measure of the angle? Well, in this case, it's 74. So when I find x, I find the angle at the same time. Now, that won't be the case over here. Okay, so over here, same thing. I know that x plus x minus 35 plus 43 has to equal 180 degrees. I can combine my x's and I get 2x. I can combine these and I get plus 8. That equals 180. Then I'm going to go ahead and subtract 8. So 2x is 172. And I divide by 2. What is that, 86? 86. Okay, so now that answers the question. That tells me what x is. It also tells me what this angle is. This angle is 86 degrees. It does not tell me what this angle is. That angle would be 86 minus 35, so that would be 51. So this angle would be 51 degrees. Now, if it was me, and I was doing this problem, the last thing I would do is I would check to make sure that these three angles added up to 180, because if they don't, you made a mistake somewhere. Okay, so 86 and 43, that'd be 129. And then I add 51, and that's going to be a 10. That's a good sign. That's going to be 8, and that's going to be 1. And so, yes, I win. That works. So x is 86. The measure of this angle is 86 because it's equal to x, and this angle is 51 degrees. Okay. How are the angles at right related to each other? Well, here's the thing that I know. I know that the three angles inside the triangle add up to 180, right? So x plus y plus z, or plus w, sorry, equals 180. Now, here's the other thing that I know. I know that w plus z also equals 180 because they form a straight line. Anytime you form a straight line like this, those two angles have to add up to 180 degrees. Okay. So, what does that tell me? Well, that tells me this. If these three angles have to add up to 180, and these two angles have to add up to 180, then this angle right here has to equal that one plus that one. Okay? So, I get a new theorem. X plus y equals z in this case. Okay? So, I get a theorem. And this is called the, what do they call this? The remote interior angle theorem. And I'm not huge on you guys memorizing the names of theorems, but there's a few you should know. This is probably one that you should know. That the exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of the remote interior angles. Okay, so let's think about what this means here. Here's my exterior angle, it's angle Z. Angle W is an adjacent angle, an adjacent interior angle, because it's next to it. The word adjacent means next to. Remote means far away. So, angle Z has two remote interior angles. That would be Y and X. Okay? Now, if I had a different triangle, if I had this same triangle, but I extended it over here, and let's say I called this angle Q, this would still be Y, this would still be W over here. These would be the remote interior angles. Angle Q would equal Y plus W. Okay, so that'd be out here. Here's Q, that would equal these two added together. If I extended something up here, okay, and I call this, I don't know, angle M would be equal to X plus W. Okay, so it's a pretty easy theorem. I don't care if you know the name, but you should know how the theorem works. Okay, so if I look here, what is angle X equal to? Well, angle X is going to equal its sum of the two remote interior angles, so that's going to be 36 plus 72, so X is going to equal 108 degrees. Now, could I confirm that? Sure I could. Let's do it a different way. Let's do it, if I know this, I know that the inside angle, this angle right here, is going to be 180. Let's see, these two added together is 108, so we can just do that all at once. If we subtract 108 degrees, that's going to be 72. Okay, so that means this angle right here would be 72, but then if these two have to add up to 180, I get 108 again, so this is 108. Okay, so I can shortcut figuring out this angle. I don't have to figure out this angle. All I got to do is add these two together and it gives me that one. Okay, now this one over here, a little bit tougher. Okay, because I got multiple variables. But here's what I know, it works the same way. This is the exterior angle, so 2a is going to equal the sum of the remote interior angles, so that's going to be 8 minus 5 plus 80. Okay, so I'm going to subtract a from both sides, and I'm going to get a equals, and then negative 5 plus 80 is going to be 75. So a is 75. Now, that doesn't answer my question. Okay. This angle is 2 times a, so it's going to be 2 times 75, or 150 degrees. And this angle right here is going to be 70 degrees. And sure enough, 80 plus 70 is 150. Plus, I can figure out this angle if I want to, because these three have to add up to 180. There's 150, so that means that this has to be 30. And then these two have to add up to 180, and 30 and 150 add up to 180. So, boom, there you go. So on this one, you know, here's what a lot of people are going to do. They're going to do this, and they're going to solve, and they're going to get 75. And they're going to put a box around their answer, and they're going to be done. And that's not the answer, because it says, what is the measure of the exterior angle? The measure of the exterior angle is 150 degrees. That's the answer. Make sure you answer the question that is asked. Ooh, we got the Bermuda Triangle here. How exciting. Okay, so if you don't know what the Bermuda Triangle is, it's a triangle between Florida, Puerto Rico, and Bermuda. Okay, and what's its significance is there's been a whole lot of ships and a whole lot of planes that have disappeared in that triangle. Okay, so the theory is that there was some weird magical thing that made ships and planes disappear, and people would be terrified to go in there. So some people thought it was aliens. There was all kinds of weird stuff. So an airplane leaves from Miami and travels around the Bermuda Triangle. So here's Miami, flies to Puerto Rico, San Juan, Puerto Rico, and then it flies up to Bermuda, and then it flies back, okay? So what is the value of x? So we got x right here. That's this angle, okay? So here's what I know. I know, and I'm going to use a calming color right here. Isn't that a calming color? I'm going to use that because of the stress of being in the Bermuda Triangle right here. So x plus 2x minus 44.8 is going to equal, plus another 62.8 has to equal 180 degrees. All right, so let's double check that. X degrees plus this angle, 2x minus 44.8 plus 62.8. That's the three angles of a triangle. That adds up to 180. So I'm going to combine my like terms. So I'm going to get 3x right here. Ooh, I wish I had my calculator with me. Let's see. The 0.8s are going to cancel out, so it's going to be 62 minus 44. That's going to be 18. So plus 18 equals 180. Okay, I'm going to subtract 18 from both sides. So I'm going to get 3x is going to equal 162. I'm going to divide by 3. And I'm going to get x equals what, 54? X is 54 degrees. So I know that this angle right here, 54 degrees. I can figure out this angle if I want to. That's going to be 2 times 54, which would be 108, minus 44.8. So 2, 3, that's going to be 6. So this would be 63.2 degrees. Okay, there you go. So we just had to, it just said find the value of x, or box around x. You know, it's not a bad idea, is when you read a question like this, underline what it is you're supposed to find. And then go back and check at the end. Did I find that? So I underlined this. I'm supposed to find x. Did I find x? Yep, I sure did. So I win. If it said, oh, what is the value of the angle at San Juan? Okay, I can look here and I go, oh, that's not the angle of San Juan. I guess I better figure that out. Okay, find the measures of the missing angles. So I tell you what, here's what I want you to do. I want you to pause the video here because you haven't had a chance to do this yet. Pause the video, figure out what y is here, figure out what this angle is right there, and then jump back on here and make sure that you got it right. Okay, and this is an easy one. You can do this one in your head practically. Y is going to be 40 plus 30. So y is going to be 70 degrees. And go ahead and write that in the picture. Piece of cake. All right, this one's a little harder. Now this one I know that the exterior angle is equal to the sum of the remote interior angles. So it's equal to n plus 2n plus 20. And so now I'm going to just solve this for n. So I can combine my like terms here. I can move my n terms all to one side. I can move all my numbers to the other side. N is 40. Okay, now what is the question? Find the measures of the missing angles. Okay, this is not 40 degrees. So what I need to do is I need to take 4 times 40 minus 20. That's going to be that angle right there. So this is 160 minus 20, which is 140 degrees. That, my friends, is the answer right there. It didn't ask me to find the other ones, so I don't have to do that. But I could. I know that this angle is 40 degrees, because it's the same as n. This angle here would be twice 40 degrees, which would be 80, plus 20, which would be 100. And guess what, folks? 40 plus 100 is 140, so I win. And additionally, I could figure out what this angle was right here. This also has to be 40 degrees because those three angles have to add up to 180, and these two angles have to add up to 180. So this is a big win all around right here. That's how you know that you got it right, is because everything fits together perfectly. Okay, so you're going to get to do 1 through 25 odd on the assignment, and I will see you guys in class.